So this is a self-portrait of me. These are my eyes. I'm doing a series of portraiture at the moment after doing loads of mountains. But these eyes are just going to be the only thing you see of me. These are some old paints that my mum had kept from my sister and myself as well from being teenagers. So my sister died when she was 17 and I was 20. She was probably the closest person to me in my family. And so I wanted to use these paints, because it's all about like recycling and reusing. And I didn't want these to go to waste. At the time, a lot of people thought that my sister's life was cut short, and you can kind of think that, oh, maybe that was like a waste of her life. And I think that's why I wanted to use these paints to kind of say, well, no, it wasn't a waste of her life. She continues to live in our memories and in my memories, and she was very creative, and we shared that. We had that in common. It was a very testing process doing this painting. I didn't actually feel a lot of enjoyment, but I felt a lot of energy. I guess kind of energy from this process of using all these old paints, and these would have ended up in the bin, and kind of repurposing them, but also like just remembering my sister and remembering how creative she was and what we shared. And it was sad, it's emotional, kind of still miss her, even though it was like over 20 years ago. And I guess the way in which I applied all these paints in this kind of messy, kind of mixed up process was part of that experience of pain and sorrow. And you can't kind of box it off and make it purposeful straight away. You feel like all over the place, and kind of like the experience of losing someone so young and someone who was so close to me. This is probably the best way for me to express it. And I've shied away from this process for a long time because it's painful, and you don't want to kind of relive that pain of losing someone. But after all these years, putting this paint onto this board, and the board itself is repurposed. It's an old board that would have just ended up in a bin. I think the painting at the end kind of shows off that emotion better than me just trying to describe it now. I liked all this. I liked the way it kind of was just plonked on the canvas, on the board, and that mess of emotion and the happy memories and the dark memories and the painful stuff is kind of showed off in this process. Like I said before, it was kind of really uncomfortable, this process. And part of me just wanted to stop and give up. And I suppose I could have done with it being oil paintings that kind of stay wet for ages. But I didn't. There was something in me that was kind of enjoying this process as well. Kind of a cathartic thing. It was almost like therapy. Mixing it all together and not knowing how it would end up looking, but yeah, it was cool. It was good. I think because I chose to use these paints that were my sister's and mine to create this self-portrait was also significant because although she's not here, she's still part of me, part of my memories, part of who I am. And also it's a mess sometimes, and my sister wasn't perfect, but nor am I. And creating this painting was to show part of her and part of me mixed together. And sometimes that grief can kind of just take over. So I guess that's why it forms my body and all you see is my eyes. And sometimes you feel like that grief and sadness is all that people can see. And sometimes it's kind of hidden in all the mess of life.